Hurry up, so Nick's about to leave.
Okay.
To apologise to customers for the delay. This service, which is due to the track, going up some steps.
I'm constantly aware of the passing of time. From the moment I get up, I can feel the day start to slip away. I want to pack more into it, like these go-ahead fatally ill people who've gone on a time management course for the dying.
Itemise the things you want to get done in those last 3 weeks. Those of you with 2 weeks left may wish to make priority lists using the little notebooks I gave you this morning.
We all have to cope with time passing. This Cockney Pearly King thinks he can cope, but he can't. His name's Danny Chivers, and he's about to find out he's been sacked because all his work can now be done by a computer. Danny went home that night and screamed into a big tub of his buttons. This children's puppeteer's learnt to change with the times. His name's Keith Midgley.
I'm gonna put out your fire.
And one day, when his act was dying on its fluffy arse, he discovered he could earn a fortune doing this.
I need to cool down.
Do you perform scientific experiments on animals for a living? If not, please disregard this letter bomb. Why do I waste my time every morning reading all my junk mail? Learn to speak Tarzan. Have you ever wanted to speak like the Lord of the Jungle? Now is heap big chance. I do it every morning, even though I know it makes me late. Dear householder, are you a recently housed asylum seeker just moved into the neighbourhood? If so, please accept this turd through your letterbox. If not, then our apologies for the turd. Right, this is all going in the bin. I now have lost a lot of the day. I've concluded that the only good thing about seeing time passing is that we can watch Margaret Thatcher get closer to death. Well, this is going to take forever.
There just isn't enough time to get everything done. So every night, Rupert Murdoch gets in and says, "Shite! Didn't ring China!" Or Radiohead delay the recording of a new album because they want to finish reading Harry Potter.
There isn't time to stop and marvel at all the hundreds of things happening right now. No, some medical notes are being mixed up. A showroom sells a Vectra. A dog bitch gives birth in Stenhouse Muir. 6 farmers whinge. Groomed men go out on the shag. Derby County seek a new manager. A super teacher feels sick. Holland make a break for it. Denise Van Outen steps on a landmine. Half of a manufactured teen band take cocaine. A spy leaves his laptop in the pub. Rod Stewart sees a bus and wonders if he'll ever catch one again in his lifetime. Diane Abbott trips on a pen. A monkey dies at Longleat. Michael Schumacher is disappointed disappointed by this morning's post. A man ignores his feng shui advice and buys a Dennis the Menace duvet cover. Someone has got the thunderball. Sir Alan Sugar opens his mouth to speak. Tony come up with a new shape of pasta. Meatloaf flies into Gatwick.
It's a week ago that my wife got the news from her doctor that she's only got 34 years to live. So we've obviously had to think things through. I've packed the job in to look after her. And we're going to just spend the time we've got left doing the things we want to do. So we're going off to live in Disneyland.
Hello.
Hello, I'm from the Sunday Observer. I gather you bought today's copy.
Yes, I take the Observer.
I'm not interested what you fucking take, love. I just want to know whether you've read it.
Yes, I read it this morning.
Well, let's have a look then, shall we? Hey?
What are you doing?
What's all that? Oh, look! It's the business section, looking distinctly unread.
Oh, I don't read the business section.
Well, perhaps you fucking should.
What's going on?
You haven't read any of them, have you?
I mean, I've read most of them.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's have a little exam then, shall we? Sit down. Tell me, what did it say in today's paper is the best region of Italy? Tuscany.
Oh.
Why?
I don't know.
Because of the fucking food.
Okay.
What does Susanna Clapp say about Simon Russell Beale's Hamlet?
Well, I don't know, but I have actually seen that production.
I don't care. I don't fucking care if you've seen the arse-wiping play. I want to know what Susanna Clapp has written about it.
I don't know.
She says Beale makes every line sing and every line his own. What does she say?
He makes every line sing and every line his own.
Good, good. Have you read what Germaine Greer has got to say about the art of delegation?
No.
Well, you fucking should, you soppy tart. Sunday is a day for getting your arms ripped out if you don't read every section of that Sunday Observer. Because if you don't, babe, I'm going to be watching you, and I don't care where you go, you can fuck off to Tibet. And I shall have men, nutters, from Parkhurst, dressed in Yeti suits, up Everest, with meat cleavers, ready to chop your tarty fucking legs off. You know what I'm saying to you? Right. There's the business section. There's a very interesting article about the NASDAQ. Read it.
Hello, Hugh. I'm just trying to avoid being ravaged by time's withered claw. Is it the same for you, being old?
Yeah. So, Hugh, I suppose life was very different in the old days.
It was very different. We never had sushi. We had to improvise. So we'd go to the fish shop and say, don't bother frying it. Or my mother would make some sushi out of corned beef.
And I suppose it was very exciting in the old days when some new things came along.
Well, I certainly remember the first set of Star Wars films, long before Phantom Menace. And when Return of the Jedi came out, there were street parties. George V came out to see it. And we were all given a silver sixpence with a picture of Queen Victoria on one side and a picture of Jabba the Hutt on the other.
Hugh smells of memories. He's stopped time by spouting his past.
Oh, they were great days. We all had Gillette Contour then, but not Contour Plus. But we all knew it was just round the corner.
Over here there used to be a home base. That's gone. Now they've just ruined it.
I've learnt from Hugh to discover the past everywhere.
Of course we had blackouts in those days, so we used to get to school wearing infrared goggles.
God, it's still here. As a kid, I used to come down here every weekend to be bullied. I love it when people try and keep the past alive. This happened recently when the Emperor of Japan came on a state visit to Britain, and the mall was lined up with British ex-servicemen who'd all been Japanese prisoners of war. And they were demanding an apology from the Emperor for their mistreatment. And what they were doing was they were protesting by turning their back on him as he went past. So I suppose it was the world's first Mexican back. And the Emperor said, all right, we will apologise if you apologise for what the West did to Nagasaki. And the British said, well, we did. The very next day we called round on Nagasaki to apologise, but there was no one in, apart from one guy who tried to protest by turning his back on us, but it fell off.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the city of Sheffield, I would like to welcome you all to this splendid knife attack reunion.
This year, I believe, we have not only the group travelling home from the theatre who were attacked, but also, for the first time, all 4 of the gang who set upon them. And a special welcome to Alistair and Bobby, who've flown over from Australia. And who some of you may remember took part in the prison gang rape of one of the convicted attackers in the shower in 1983, was it?
No, 1984 it was.
1984, I stand corrected. Don't forget, as ever, the children's creche is in the forecourt. And children, remember, the bouncy castle is made of rubber, so no knives.
Darling, this is Sir Harry Watkins, one of the gentlemen who attacked me 20 years ago.
Hello, I've heard so much about you.
No, I didn't attack you.
You didn't attack me?
No, I stabbed your wife. Don't you remember?
Good heaven.
Yeah, I had you down on the ground, and then she came over. Pulled me off, and then I turned around and I said to her, "You bitch!" You remember?
I'm going to cut your face.
I'm going to cut your face. That was me. And it was Tommy.
Hang on a minute.
It was
Australia.
Yeah.
Yes. And you were whose rapist?
We're Tommy Bannister, me and
Tommy.
Al, yeah.
Oh, Tommy.
But in
Yes.
prison, that was, yeah.
I see, yes. So not anymore.
No, obviously not now, no.
This gentleman has stabbed me. Now, this gentleman stabbed you.
Harry, it was me slashed your face, you know, when you come over to try and rescue him.
Did you then do a history of art degree? How did
No, it wasn't me. That was Tommy. It was Tommy. He did the Open University.
Now, you're the one who stabbed me in the chest, is that
That's
it?
right.
He stabbed you in the chest, yeah.
Prosecution made so many mistakes during the whole thing.
Absolutely.
No, calm down. It's only plastic. It's plastic.
Sorry, I can't take her anyway.
She still gets really funny.
There, it's all right, see?
Hello, Tommy. Force the habit again.
Made you jump there, didn't you?
What happened in the shower?
We're all in Pentonville together, right? We caught him in the shower.
And what happened? I don't...
Well, he bent over and, you know, we...
I
just don't like him standing close to me anymore.
That hand used to be my soap hand. Oh, you did really well there, mate, I'll tell you.
Sausage.
Alec is 42 this morning and therefore has nothing further to contribute to society. So today's the day Alec goes into a home for middle-aged men.
Hello.
Hello. A middle-aged man just pissed himself.
Hello. And you are?
Alec Thompson.
Yes, welcome, Alec. Nice to have you with us. Now, I think we're still... yes, we are. We're still preparing a chair for you over there. That'll probably be a few hours yet.
Yeah.
If you'd like to just come this way, because we had a slight accident earlier. Perhaps you'd like a small beer?
Yes, that'd be lovely.
Yes, and there's videos, newspapers, anything you like.
Okay, yeah.
Now, a nun will come by and give you a shave in a few minutes.
Ah.
And in the meantime, would you do something for me? Would you just pop in there and examine yourself down your trousers? Would you?
What do you mean, examine myself down my trousers?
Just have a look down the front of your trousers for
Well,
me.
for what?
Just for anything out of the ordinary. It's something
Well,
we
like
do
what?
every day here. Lumps, distension, anything like that.
Okay, right, yes.
It's just something I'd like you to get into the habit of doing while you're with us.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? Good. From now on, more and more of what you do in your life will be a waste of time. All right? You have reared and now you are spent. You sit in a sports car, but you look like a worm on a diamond. All right? Now, what you have to adjust to is a world in which people no longer fancy you. As you go through this change, you will divest yourself of the clothing and care products that previously you found beneficial. That was when you were young, when your imagination was supple and could leap like a bird or a gibbon. The past is a distant yacht. What you haven't done now, you'll never get done. All right? possibility is a private party to which you are no longer invited. There is not now a single man in this room who will ever be an astronaut. I've organised a little surprise for tonight. A concert from the ABBA tribute band.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I've pissed myself.
Never mind, never mind.
Can I have your next position?
We're always trying to freeze time, sort of stop it in its tracks. I suppose that's why we have so many revivals. For example, at the moment we're going through an 80s revival. So people go clubbing dressed as the old Channel 4 logo. And every Wednesday it's Catch-a-Goo-Goo night at Westminster Abbey. But time moves on. And in 5,000 years' time, who knows what will be remembered from the last century? It may well be Stalin and Islamic fundamentalism, but there's every chance it'll just be the stock cube.
I have found that in Europe, most of the people... Come in.
Hiya.
Hey, when did you get here?
About an hour ago. Did you come by the Eurostar?
Yeah, you must have got the one just before me.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, I've just seen Gavin. He and the acquisitions lot came down earlier to set up.
Good. So this is your room?
Yeah, Stuart recommended it. It's all in euros, but apart from that, it's all right, isn't it?
It's very nice.
Yeah.
You do know this place used to be a concentration camp?
Yeah, of course it did. I think it's quite nice. Have you had a look around? The bathroom's great.
No. Do the others know about this place?
Well, if they're over at the bar, they'll have a pretty good idea. Listen, why don't we meet over at the bar before dinner? Have a few jars, eh?
I don't know. I feel I need a bit of fresh air before, just...
Well, listen, there's some lovely woodland walks around here. There really are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll see you at dinner then, yeah?
Yes.
So, Hugh, what's your earliest vivid memory?
Me and my brothers, we all got in a caravan one day, and King George was driving. We went to Wembley Stadium. Wembley was new then, just been finished for the Olympics. And who did we see there? Yeah, Rob Newman and David Baddiel.
The only place where time seems to come to a standstill is at my barber's.
Did I tell you I got stabbed the other day?
Really?
Yeah, funnily enough, I found it quite a relaxing experience.
He's interminable.
What happened was a friend of mine, he surprised me, he done it for a surprise. Obviously I lost a lot of blood and all of this, but I couldn't find it nowhere. Eventually I found most of it in a potty, because my friend is a very considerate man, actually. Have you ever been stabbed yourself?
No.
Would you like to be stabbed?
No, that's fine.
I know what I want for my next birthday, I'll tell you that. You know, the top people are all having their piercings and nipples pierced and even the genitalia and all that. And really, what's the difference between that and a stabbing?
One day I noticed a boy waiting next to me who looked like me when I was his age. And I suddenly remembered when I was a boy at the barber's, surrounded by big, hairy men. And I remember looking and thinking that as you got older, you became mostly hair. Above all, the big men had mad, living eyebrows of frozen fire. And these monsters would occasionally haunt me in my dreams. And I remember thinking, thank Christ, I don't have big hairy eyebrows that need cutting. On life's roller coaster, I was still at the start. I'd already ridden through the first exciting new thrills, past the first time I was stung by a wasp, past my first Genesis CD, on and on, past the first time I had to mend a door, and the first time I mugged. I go past the age at which I could be conscripted during a war. And then I start to see the end in sight, and I'm getting ready to be cranked up for the big drop into oblivion. And doing the cranking are the big hairy men. And then this happened.
I've been on this new diet lately, and I lost loads and loads of weight. Right. You know, for example, the other day I farted 2 stone.
Right.
Hang about these eyebrows could do with a little...
Oh, no! Suddenly I'd run out of future. My eyebrows were uncontrollable. I was no longer young. Never again would people call me a whippersnapper, a likely lad, a young offender. Down and down I went, past my first hemorrhoid. Past the point where I could no longer read smash hits without it looking like it was written in another language. I now knew I wouldn't live long enough to see household robots. I was slipping down a box in application forms. I was going on past the age where I would be called up if a war was going extremely badly. I was now old enough to be one of those men who presents medals at the Olympic Games.
But I can't be an adult. I'm only 37.
I wanted to tell people to get off the roller coaster, especially children. Why did children want to grow old quicker and smoke and stay up late and be sarcastic?
I've decided that if kids want to be more and more like adults, then I've got to stop them in an entertaining and amusing way.
Say hello to Armando, the great adult.
Ooh-la, what's that? It's a key for bleeding a radiator. It opens the airlock. It is something you will have to know because it's something each and every one of you is going to have to do at some point in your life or get someone in for you. Ha-la-la! What about this? We all know what this is. Fire. Now, they all say there's no smoke without fire, but neither is there any fire without one of these. A damages claim form. Zuzaza. With a damages claim form, be prepared for insurance companies to be a little bit sticky about what you can and cannot claim. There are people who can advise you on this. Do learn their numbers. Mababa! This is a perfectly ordinary tin of tomatoes. And this is a perfectly ordinary any vegetable. And put the two together and you get vavuva, va, vo. An acceptable pasta sauce. Okay, I'm going to show you now how to pack a suitcase for a 2-day business trip to Europe. Now, you've all seen Doctor Who. Do you remember the TARDIS? It was bigger on the inside than on the outside. That doesn't actually happen. Things are actually smaller on the inside than they are on the outside, all right? So you've got to realise that, or else you won't get on. As you get older, you may want to start reading these, though in time you'll probably find this one a little bit more annoying. This is what you say at Christmas time. Oh, a thing for resealing wine. That'll come in very handy. Thank you. Zuzza. The reason I'm telling you all these things is because there's a lot of responsibility goes with adulthood, all right? It's not just a big laugh, right? It can be hell. So it's far better to enjoy your youth while you've got it. It's great. It's a laugh, isn't it? Being young, yeah. Sitting around in shopping malls, sending text messages to each other, just hoping against hope that one of your friends has got a brother who owns a car, and daring each other to go into off licenses to buy something, and then one of you does and comes out with a big bag of Red Bull because they thought it was an alcoholic drink. All right, so enjoy it. Bazaza!
So anyway, that's why I think the Stonehenge is basically just a very, very sophisticated anthill.
Right, right.
I mean, like the ants, you know, I mean, they're very clever, you know. Yeah, people say this and that about animals, that they're stupid and then I don't know nothing, but I think that's rubbish. I think animals know a lot. You know the mayfly, that insect that only lives for 24 hours?
Yeah.
Scientists, they've helped a mayfly to live for, I think it was something like 5, 6, even 7 years, something like that. And it turns out that the mayfly is a lot cleverer than people think. You know, part of the problem is he only lives 24 hours, so he never learned nothing. If he lives for 6, 7 years, he apparently learned quite a lot, and he become pretty good at conversational French. So he could go into shops and order wine and cheese quite accurately. The trouble is, he's only got a little voice because he's a mayfly. And so what they had to do is they had to build a very small little amplifier so as to amplify his voice.